Some call it fate, some call it the universe's way of keeping score, but I know it as karma. Welcome back to Karma's a Mitch, episode 8. That's amazing. That's 2 whole months of Karma's a Mitch that I've been able to always put out an episode on Monday. I haven't specified a time yet, it's just Monday, so I've always been on time, at the very least. I have a handful of topics to talk about. Some of them really happy, some of them great. One of them I'm going to leave right to the very end. I'm actually going to take it off my screen right now, so I'm not looking at it. It's a little bit heavier. Again, listener discretion is advised for that one, but we'll get to it a little bit later. There's some better things to talk about right now. Like today is my good friend Juno's birthday, 20th birthday, so happy birthday, Juno. I know you don't listen, but that's fine. I texted her anyways this morning. You're going to go hang out and celebrate tomorrow as well. My lawnmower's a piece of garbage, hot garbage, and it has been for weeks, and I haven't really talked about it because most of the time I do it right after the podcast, like on Tuesday or Wednesday, so I don't really talk about it too much, because by the time I come around to podcasting, I'm not angry about it anymore. But today I just went and tried. I started at just before 10 o'clock, and it is now just after 11. And yes, I also had to go and get a part. I had to go get an air filter for it. And still had it up for about an hour, and it only ran good for about 20. And no, those were not consecutive. Not consecutive minutes. Not 20 and then it crapped out for 40 minutes. No, it was just like, I'm going to run good for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to run good for 10 minutes, and then, yeah, I'm going to run good for another 5 minutes, and then crap out on you. And I have to limp it back, because as soon as I touch the gas pedal, it just completely dies. So we've changed the fuel filter, the fuel pump, we've cleaned the carburetor, and now we just replaced the air filter I had to go out and go down the road to the parts store and walk in there. Hey, I'm looking for this air filter. And she goes, oh, is it like John Deere? And I'm like, yeah, it's John Deere air filter. It came off like our, I don't know, it's zero turn, like 3-wheel, I don't know, lawnmower. It's kind of old. And she goes, oh, okay. So she takes it and she goes, ooh, it's this part number. And I'm like, cool, I don't know, look it up. I don't know what to tell you. I just cut the grass with it. So she looks it up. They have one in stock. It's a $45 air filter. It does look pretty nice. Like, I get it. It also is John Deere, so it's a little more expensive for the name. Normally their stuff runs well when it runs well. Yeah, so I have no problem cutting the grass. Like, I like doing it. I just went and got some earbuds for it, because I just throw on my my shooting earmuffs, and it deadens the noise pretty good. And then I can just have the earbuds on at like a normal volume, so I'm not like blasting music into my headphones to try and drown out the sound of the lawnmower, and it just will probably ruin my hearing anyway doing that. So that's why I got the earbuds, and they're just nice to have too. I love listening to music. I got the Raycons. Now, of course, I'm not sponsored, because why would I be? I have like 10 listeners. I don't even know if my YouTube's getting any views as well, because I mean, I don't blame you. I'm not doing it to be internet famous. That's probably obvious. I'm just doing it so I can continue to create audio, and so I continue to talk, because the amount of times that I'm just not, because I have no one. It's not that I have no one to talk to. I don't want to talk to anyone, so I'll just talk to no one, and then I can still talk. Because that was the one thing I think that really screwed me over when I started at KX, is going from basically not talking. Now, I was relatively popular at school. I did talk a decent amount, but really outside of that, I don't talk. I really don't. I don't care. I don't care enough to talk to people. So then I was talking to myself all day on the weekends as well, and going and screaming at cows in the barn, and then I've lost my first time I've ever lost my voice. I haven't since, knock on wood, but it was definitely something. So what was I talking about? I would just, oh, right, the lawnmower. The earbuds, right. So I've had them before, but I had like their classic when like years ago. When I was doing the construction and stuff down on the lake, and they were really good then. I think the lake was the fitness earbuds actually, because they fit just a little bit better when I'm like sweating and stuff, and they were a little bit more waterproof. Not that I ever needed them to be, but like, you know, maybe the sweat, maybe something. I don't know. They also just fit better when I was really sweaty down on the beach. And then there was also the classic stuff with the physical buttons and the ones you always see like advertised on YouTube and that sort of thing. But I do like them. Like I think they have a good price point. I I don't think the AirPods have any better sound quality. Like my brother has them as well because he says that if he spends so much on on earbuds that he's not going to lose them. And I did lose them last night in my bed. So the Raycon's not his not his AirPods, but I don't like how the Apple stuff fits. Like you have to get the Pro version to get the actual like gel tips, and I like the style now. Like I got a really nice purple, and they have active noise canceling, although I don't really use it. They have their awareness mode, so you can actually hear better through them as well, which again I don't use. I just listen to music. I turn on the bass boost, and that's how I go. But I love the music. I love obviously bass as well. I had to go in and pick up like a subwoofer from Marketplace for my stereo in my room here, and of course I have my subwoofer that I still need to hook up in my car. That one's going to be a pain in the butt to do because I don't know how to take apart the radio. I don't know what goes where. I did find a wiring diagram, but I don't know how I'm going to run it because I want it to look half decent this time. Like the Hyundai was great to learn on, but I do want to keep this one around a little bit longer because I've seen people say like, oh, you know, you take it from the door and all this sort of stuff, but like you still need to be able to open the door, in my opinion. So I don't really know how I'm going to figure that one out, but I don't know if I want to take it right from the back of the stereo right now, because again, like it's CarPlay. It's so much more advanced than the one in my Hyundai, which was, you know, just a radio and a CD player, and then that's it. If I wanted music myself, I would have to put it on a CD and then put it on the in the radio. I have a handful of car speakers that I could put in as well. So I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do with it. I don't know. Like, people don't really use the back of my car much because, again, I don't like people. I should rephrase that again. I have no problem with meeting people, you know, out and about and like hanging out. It's, do I really need to have more than a person, or I guess two in my car? No. Will I ever, like, is it a regular thing? No. Because why? Because most of my friends either live close enough to me and have a car, or I don't have enough friends to do one specific thing that I need a whole bunch of people in my car. Now, when I went to high school, yeah, we would pack my 7-seater, and then eventually I just took the seats out of the back because I never had that many people in after that. So I just took the seats out, so I would have a little bit more room to put like the stereo and then stack some stuff in it and that sort of thing. So that's why I don't really bother with keeping the back of my car clean. The front, yeah, whatever. Like typically I'll have someone in there, but the rest of the seats, like, fair game. I have a what is it called? I think a duty bag, which is basically just a big bag that you can put a whole bunch of stuff in, because I carry a whole bunch of stuff. I have a big med bag and that sort of thing that I try and keep at the very least near me when I'm out and about. I used to carry it on my backpack when I went to school. So in a backpack safe environment, I guess an appropriate backpack environment, that sort of thing, that's where I would carry it. And I have just about everything in there, but I can only carry so much of all that stuff, and I buy it in bulk, so it's so much cheaper. Like the alcohol swabs you get for like less than a cent if you buy a bunch of them at once. And they don't go bad. So like why not just have a whole bunch of them and then use them as you need them? Like I can use them for just about anything, and I don't feel bad about using it. I don't know where I got them at that price, but I'm going to have to find that again once I need them. But that's what I keep the duty bag for. It's just for more stuff. That's where I keep my actual hard cases of Narcan and that sort of thing. Because I just have a little pouch on my bag that I can, so I'm not carrying around a big honking case and taking up too much room. Because I have a whole bunch of other stuff in there. All the burn creams and all that sort of stuff. And just about anything that I can make a good enough bandage if something is going bad. So that's my kind of thing. I need more like gauze or cotton or something in there, but that's for another day. What was I talking about before this? I went from something to car audio to now the back of my car. I was going to talk about this. Oh, right. I was talking about the lawnmower and how upset I am. I'm mad. I just want to cut the grass. I have no problem doing it. I like doing it. It gives me something to do other than just sit around all day and find something else. But I've started doing other things. Like, I just picked up skeet shooting. I got a little manual thrower off of Marketplace, just a like $40 one. It cost me $40. It retails at $40, but I also got a hand thrower and a whole box of clays, all again for $40. So I'm really happy with that because it gives me. I mean, clays aren't much. They're $30 for 135 of them, and I still haven't figured out how they stack them to get 135 in like a 4x4 compartment. Because if you do the math, what was it? 135 divided by 16. It's 8.4. I'm pretty sure there's more than 8 in each little compartment. And I'm also pretty sure that it was 4x4 in the box. It's pretty fun, though. I mean, I only did it for so long. What was it? Was it yesterday? No, 2 days before. Saturday. I don't know what day it is today. It's Monday because I'm recording this. Well, I should know this. But I was shooting, and it has a little string, but I didn't want to like tie it to my foot because I'm indecisive, and if I need to like walk away and get something, I need to like untie it from my foot, and then I have to like kick my foot out, and I'd be way more preoccupied doing that. So I just put it in my stability hand. As I lift my shotgun up, it pulls the string. I can then drop the string, and it's far enough out that I can then take a couple shots at it. It's honestly a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. It's not that hard. I posted one video up on my private socials for my friends, and a lot of them were like, "Oh wow, that looks so cool! Like that's really awesome." And I'm like, "It's not that hard. It's a pump shotgun. You can get 2 shots off in about a second. Like you're golden. It's not that hard. You point it in the direction of the skeet, because like they're not big and they're not small. I think they're 108 millimeters is the North American standard. International standard is 110. Not that this matters. And the thrower, I'm pretty sure, can throw whatever it wants, really, because it's just a spring on on a piece of metal. And every time I would pull it back, I would like flinch, and I would absolutely think it's gonna just like rack me in my shin. So I was kind of afraid of it. But as soon as it's locked up and good to go, whatever, that's fine. A handful of clays blew up on impact, which is fine. A handful just knocked off a corner of it as I shot it. So then I tried to put them back in, but don't do that, because then that just creates a much larger shotgun. You're just throwing a whole bunch of clay into a field, and that's no good. You might as well just throw it out at that point. and keep the pain out. It's not bad for the field. There was a handful of things saying, oh, you know this and oh, you know that, but like at the end of the day, it's really just clay, and you shoot it and it blows up and it goes out into the wheat field that we're gonna have to plow under anyway. So what is it? It's not much different than a rock. People are like, oh, it's not gonna break down. Yeah, neither does a rock, right? One of them breaks much down further into like a dust. It's the clay. Have you hit a rock with an implement? It's bad. These aren't big, and they also break. It's the whole point, actually. Oh, you might puncture a tire. You're not gonna puncture a tire. No. But no, guys, I'm a murderer just because I own firearms. That's exactly what I have them for. Not to have safe and legal fun with them. Oh, you're just firing into the sky. No, I'm not. Well, sure. But one, it's a 20 gauge target load. It barely has enough power to break the target sometimes. And like a shotgun only really goes about 100 yards. Like it just goes up and it falls back down. And the best part is, like, people are so afraid about like firing bullets straight up. I think the Mythbusters tested it, and actually the terminal velocity of a bullet coming back down isn't enough to kill you. It's barely enough to harm you. Like it'll just feel like hail. Like that's it. The problem is when you fire it off like at a angle. So kind of like how I'm shooting. But again, I'm shooting target rounds, which are underpowered, and they're also little tiny. I'm pretty sure they're lead shot, because lead's cheaper. So little tiny lead shot out into a field. Wow. It's not even gonna hit near the end of my field. I'm not firing it towards houses, which there aren't any close anyways, because that would be against the law. And again, I am a law-abiding gun citizen. There aren't any buildings nearby that I don't own. Well, I don't own any of them. My family owns them. Still, same thing. Law-abiding. Follows the rules. That's why I have my PAL, Possession Acquisition License, in the first place. Non-restricted, because I don't need a handgun. You also can't buy handguns now, which I also think is kind of stupid, but that's not my part, because I don't, have a restricted PAL, so I wouldn't be able to buy them anyways. Now, I am one to kind of spec out my guns, but not in a really good way. I'm kind of that, like, Amazon operator. I have a Remington 870 Tactical, so basically a police shotgun, pump shotgun. They use it a lot of the time for beanbag rounds and that sort of thing. It's a really popular 12 gauge shotgun, but I don't have a 12 gauge, I have 20 gauge, so it's even less powerful. What they need to use is the 20 gauge for the beanbag rounds, because you can't put anything other than, well, a 20 gauge in there. And a lot of the time you have lethal 12 gauge ammo, and it's specifically designed, well, it's not specific, it's just a 12 gauge pump shotgun, and it has a whole bunch of orange furniture on it, so you know, hey, this one's the less lethal one, only put the beanbags in it, but there's nothing stopping you from putting anything else in it. But the Remington 870 is a very, very popular shotgun, so a lot of the furniture is the same on the 20 gauge, but it is a little bit more narrow. So I was able to get a different front end for it, because I did not like the one it came with. So I got one from Magpul, and then I got a little. I'm still deciding on if I like the angled foregrip I got from Amazon. It was like $10-15, so super cheap, but it's kind of small. But when I was able to grab the string, I was able to hold it basically on the front of that angled foregrip. And I think that's why I was able to rack it so fast, is because I have something to actually like leverage on and pull, instead of just, what's my hand grabbing when I'm racking the shotgun. So I really do like it. I think I'm just going to keep it. And then my other kind of tacked out gun is my semi-auto 22, my Daria TM22, which is, again, I like the gun. It works well. My buddy has had problems with his, but he got a kind of a different variant of it. I got one that looked more like I guess M16, M4A1, that sort of thing. Like, the gun you'd see in, like, Vietnam, or, well, Vietnam had a fixed stock, but I guess, like, Iraq, Afghanistan, that sort of thing. Your M4s with the iron sights and that sort of thing, but they aren't iron, they're plastic, which sucked because as soon as you move them, but, like, I got a different forend for it. I got an ATI forend. I got now a different mount. I got a Hydra mount, which, if you don't know what it is, it's really just over the top and stupid. But I got a red dot for it. And I was kind of always against red dots. I would rather use iron sights. But again, the iron sights are broken, so I don't want to use them. And I don't want to just buy new iron sights because that's stupid. I also got a little PEC unit for it, a laser light unit. And the light works great, the laser doesn't. It was also pretty cheap. It's basically like airsoft stuff. Like, I'm not expecting it to really work. I'm just expecting it to, kind of look cool. And that's what it does. That's all I need it for. But the red dot, I do like it now. I never really understood what people said about the red dots, because when you use a red dot sight, you're supposed to keep both your eyes open. And that always kind of threw me off, because I'm used to using magnified optics on, whether it be like, BB gun or my SKS also has a magnified optic on it. I wouldn't really call it specced out, because it's really not. It's just an LPVO 1 to 6x, like just something that I can have a little bit of magnification on, because it is like an actual rifle. But when I was using it, it really just made sense of, oh yeah, I can just keep my eyes open, because it's cold in my basement and it's hot outside. So whenever I take it out, the glass fogs up on it, which is fine, because you can just turn the dot on and keep both your eyes open, and there you go, you can actually see. So what people have actually done is keep or cover the actual end glass of the red dot, and you can still use it as normal. Like, you don't need to actually see through a red dot sight. Oh my goodness, what gun was it? I think it was the AR-20. It was one of the Armalite rifles. It was the Armalite rifle that they used in the in like North Ireland. Like, the IRA used a whole bunch when the whole like Barrett thing was going on as well, like the 50 cal sniper rifle and stuff, when that was being used a lot. So what the sight was, it was almost like a this is gonna go over a lot of people's heads, which is fine, because this is my show and you clicked on, you get what you deserve. It uses a fiber optic cable that runs through it, so it catches light from above it and it creates a red dot, but there is no glass, so you don't actually see through the sight. You actually just have both your eyes open, and it creates a dot on your target that you see when both your eyes like converge into one image. So like, if you were to like cover one eye with your hand, you could still see like a decent amount through it. Like, you can still see like straight ahead of you. But if you were to put some like mark on your hand, then you'd still see the mark, but it would be like kind of transparent. So that's how that sight worked. I don't know if it was like, if it came with the rifle or what. This was when Armalite. So everyone thinks AR in like AR-15 and AR-10 stands for assault rifle. It doesn't. It stands for Armalite Rifles, which is a company. So this Armalite made a whole bunch of cheap, I don't know if it was in 5.56, but they tried to make their guns cheaper. I think it was a cheaper 7.62 NATO round, but I could also just be wrong, because I didn't do my research. I wasn't expecting to talk about this, but here I am. So they created a whole bunch of cheaper rifles, and it didn't really go over well because, I mean, who cares? Other than the IRA. And no, I don't mean the tax agency. That's the IRS. Oh, we have the CRA, so I'm getting both of them mixed up. No, the IRA, the Irish Republican Army. You know, those guys. Car bombs, that sort of thing. So they used them a lot in that conflict. And I don't think it had anything to do with the popularity of the rifle. I think it just sucked in general, because it was just a really cheap rifle. It was kind of like when the U.S. made the grease gun. I think it was the M2 grease gun instead of the Tommy gun, because the Tommy gun is a really nice rifle. A submachine gun, but whatever, you know. But it was so expensive to make that I think it was $45 back then to make a Tommy gun. They were able to make, I think, an M2 grease gun for $15. So they knocked $30 off. And if you've ever seen a grease gun, like, it still kicks butt. Like, I'm not going to say it's good, because it's not good. But it is very cool. It is a very cool rifle. I know the... oh my goodness. The museum in Brantford, the military museum in Brantford, are looking for an M2 grease gun, which is hard to get because, again, it's not legal here. But they also have a whole bunch of awesome stuff as well. A whole bunch of FNFALs. They have an unfired Ross rifle. I can't go into too much of what they have. They have a MG32 or 30 something. MG32? Because MG42 was after the war, when they switched it to NATO calibers instead of 8mm Mauser, which is a heck of a round. But Hitler's Buzzsaw, that's what it was called. Well, nicknamed, of course. All right, no more gun speak. I'm gonna. When I took my PAL, I knew so much about it because I watch so many actual just YouTube videos on this stuff. That's how I know all about this. And I was going on about all the different operating systems and how stuff works and direct blowback and all that sort of stuff. And the instructor was like, "Yeah, we don't go into that. Just like the basics." And I go, "Oh, okay." And then the people, the other guys, they're all like middle-aged, that sort of thing. Just getting their pals because their dads are gonna, hand off their stuff to them, and they want to actually be able to keep it. So they were all like, "How do you know? Like, you're on a list somewhere?" And I'm like, I just know how all this stuff works. Like, that's, like, I don't know. I don't think that's anything to be worried about. I just like how it works, engineering and all that sort of stuff. They're like, "Yeah, no, you're on a list. Like, we're gonna see your face. This is why you're wearing the sunglasses all the time." I'm like, "No, it's just my thing." Actually, if you see someone with sunglasses, it's probably me. Anyways, got to meet someone really cool this week. Mr. Darren Laidman from Legend 102.9 here in Hamilton. Formerly Bounce. You probably know it better as Bounce, and if you are much older than me, you probably also know it as K-Lite. K-Lite was the big thing forever ago. And actually, one of the sales reps at KX actually worked with K-Lite, and we talked all about that a handful of times. So it's really cool to actually meet him. And he came over, and we were talking with... He's a friend of one of my mom's friends who does, like, photography. So then he saw her post. So then he had to message her, and then she messaged Mom, and then they exchanged information, and then it turns out that, oh, he's the guy from Bounce. Then we listened to Bounce for a while, and then he actually shows up, and he loves the animals, and it's great. And he brought a whole bunch of treats and all that sort of stuff for the goats. So really, really nice guy. Good host too, but that's a complete different part. So we were talking, and he is talking. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I had to cancel and reschedule. Like, it's just been crazy with the switchover." And I go, "Yeah, to White Oaks." And he goes, how do you know that? Like, you sound very confident in that. And I was right. So it was like, yeah, well, why do you know that? Like, oh, well, I did the cruiser for KX for a while. This was all big news. We bought I didn't. But when I was still with them, we bought 3 stations out in Peterborough, and I tried to get on with them. And then he goes, wait a minute. Oh my goodness, you're Mitch from the KX 94.7 Community Cruiser. And I go, yeah, that was me. And he goes, I borrowed so much of your content. I would go to your Facebook page and go to, because I knew it was all free or charity, and I knew it was all like great stuff that you guys were promoting, and like how I loved it. I loved like that you guys did all that sort of stuff, and I wish we could do that. And I wish like maybe now that we're with White Oaks, we can be able to do that. And I'm going, this guy knows me as Mitch from the KX 94.7 Events Cruiser. This guy, like, really big, like, afternoon show, like, knew me from their biggest competitor in Hamilton, like, me. And he goes, yeah, I used to take your CHCH, the news station here in Hamilton, like, TV, used to take my content. He told me one time, I was at an event, and he was doing an interview with the coordinators, so I just stood off to the side waiting for them to finish, and they saw the KX on my clipboard. So then, oh my goodness, thank you so much for coming out. What do you need from me? And I'm like, dude, like, finish up your interview first. Like, he got here first. Like, I'm in no rush to talk about this stuff. Like, I already know a lot. Just you do that, and then we can talk. And then the guy behind the camera just goes, I got it from you. So, and I go, what? He goes, yeah, I listen to your stuff throughout the week to figure out where I'm going on the weekend. And I go, oh, okay, cool, I guess. So the amount of times that someone was able to actually take my stuff and use it, and it really just makes me feel good about it, because yes, it was my job. I got paid for it. That's what I did. But it also really just felt good because I was helping out the community. Like, helping out charities all across our listening area, and it was so great to be able to actually work with them. Back to Bounce, though. Well, they're not really Bounce anymore. But when I was still working with KX, I got an email one day asking to be on Bounce's community events, and I'm like, okay. One, we're not Bounce, but you can be on our community events. So then I was telling them all about that, and all this sort of stuff, and I absolutely think that everyone should be a little bit more community oriented. I think DRI could do more with what they have, and I think there's room for improvement everywhere. But in my opinion, that's just me, right? I always think there can be more done for everyone. But it was really cool to meet him. Like, he's an awesome guy, and he offered me out to the studio as well to take a look around. So I'm just looking to get back in touch with him and see how that goes. So it would be really cool to see, because they have a new studio now too. They were up on the mountain beside the mall. Everyone probably knows it. The big, 1029 Bounce, or it probably was K-Light before. And if you look at the building now, it's still like stained with the like sun bleach all around where the signs were. So it's really cool to see. So I'm really looking forward to it, because I mean, the first time in the KX studios, I was also like just awestruck with all that sort of stuff. And then I worked there, and then it got normal. But everyone else seeing it for the first time, like it is really cool to see, because you think it's just, oh, some guys behind the behind the microphone just talking to themselves in a closet for a couple hours. So it's not. There's so much more behind the scenes, and it's really, really cool. But it was really nice to see that someone actually recognized my work, and he actually said, like, I used to listen. Like, I would listen to you all the time on the weekends. Like, to actually meet someone just out of the blue, just randomly out of the blue. Wasn't even expecting to, like, because I followed him on Instagram, and I don't even know if he knew who I was then. But after, like, hearing me talk for a little bit and going, oh my goodness, you're that Mitch. And I go, yeah, I'm that Mitch. And he goes, and I just showed up to your house. And I go, small world, right? So it was really fun, and I mean, he is just an awesome guy. So we talked a little bit about, about radio and about that sort of thing, and I kind of knew some of the ins and some of the outs, and so he's just really cool guy. All right, went and had lunch, came back. It's much later now. It takes me like forever to record one of these, because I get up and I do something else halfway through, and then I come back and I have no idea what I'm talking about. So we're just going to talk about something completely different. Now, again, social media sucks. Social media is an awful place. Go and do your own research before you believe anything off of social media. But I also just like to look at some things and just laugh and then go about my day. So this was one of them. There's been a handful of movements basically saying that, all of these things could lead to far-right extremism. When I first started seeing it, it was the RCMP saying that sort of stuff about, going to church, having traditional values, saying that, I mean, I guess the kind of like the misogynistic kind of like, a woman should be in the kitchen. Like, that's fair. You shouldn't do that. But, like, going to church or being patriotic, like, I have a Canadian flag up in my room. Is that a sign of far-right extremism? And now people have taken it way too far. Recently, American Eagle just did an ad set with Sydney Sweeney, which is a very popular female actress because I guess she's pretty. That's kind of how it goes for female actresses. But American Eagle did a thing about, she's talking about her good jeans, which is, funny because she is selling denim, like a jean jacket or pants, but she's also saying, look how pretty I am, my jeans are good, like my DNA. So, really funny, good writing, good choice, but people are going off saying how it's Nazi propaganda because a blue-eyed, blonde-haired girl is saying she has good genes. I don't think Sydney Sweeney has blue eyes, which is the funniest part of all of that. So I also think it's kind of like a faking it, like, I'm gonna get like really mad on TikTok, so all of the like super right-wing people are like, brr, angry, that sort of thing. It's going on about, like, they're going on about eugenics and all this sort of stuff, and like that's not what this is about. It's about denim. Like, it's funny because jeans sounds the same. Like, I think it's called homonyms. Like, they sound the same, but they're spelled differently and they mean different things. Maybe she does have blue eyes. All right. Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. She's not a Nazi. American Eagle also isn't. Like, people fling around Nazi way too much. Like, the amount of times that I see, like, Jewish people being called a Nazi online is insane and honestly hilarious, because I don't think you know what being a Nazi means. Like, I don't think you really get it. I think you're just throwing that out there. It's also like incel and that sort of thing. But Huffington Post also has an article along the same kind of set. It says, experts say these seemingly innocent social media trends could sway you to the far right. It's cooking and gardening videos. Cooking and gardening videos could sway you to the far right because you want to eat better and you want to grow your own vegetables so you don't have to pay for them. You're gonna be an extremist. I'm sorry. You're gonna get. I don't know. I don't know what they want, but like, it's just insane. Like, it's crazy. Ooh, you're gonna hate gay people because you're gardening. Like, that's insane. But that's what people are thinking. So not only is, cooking your own food, growing your own vegetables, and flying a Canadian flag extremism, but also your pants. Your pants are now also an extremist measure. If you're not wearing booty shorts that ride all the way up your waist, you're a Nazi, according to social media. Again, I don't believe this is what a lot of people think. I think a lot of people are faking it isn't the right word, but playing it up and basically saying it as a joke, because in no right way does anyone go pants Nazi. Like, that's insane to me, in my opinion. See, I talk politics every now and again with my friends, and again, I'm not going to get into what I actually believe. I do believe your pants has no say on what you think, unless you do have any sort of insignia on them that says otherwise. You know, instead of like roots across the back of your sweatpants, it says like, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something that, you know, just a not nice statement about people. You know, people with green eyes suck. You know, redheads have no soul, right on the back of your pants. I can say that because a lot of people in my family are redheads. You know, so you know, on the back of your sweatpants it says, you know, redheads don't have a soul, gingers suck, that sort of thing, and yeah, that's not good. That I can tell from your pants. But if you're wearing denim like I do all the time, every single day, I'm not a Nazi because of it. But again, I've been talking politics a handful with my friends, and the amount of people that have come to the conclusion, hey, I think you're a chill person. I don't really care what you think. I may disagree with you on a handful of things, but you know, that doesn't really affect how I think of you as a person. I think you're still like a good person at heart, but we just think different things about, I don't know, vaccines, abortions, guns, rights in general, like that sort of thing. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because really your vote counts as much as theirs, so their opinion counts just as much as yours. And a lot of people don't realize that, because a lot of people just think, oh, my opinion is the only right one, and if you are any way right or left of that, you're now an extremist and you should die, which is what I've heard before. And a lot of people have taken my kind of what I've posted about politics privately, and it's really just, hey, I don't think we should let people out on the streets if they've committed a violent crime, personally, because there's a lot of times where people just reoffend after you let them out after a couple hours on bail. So either up the bail or, you know, that sort of thing, and I think it would do some help. And people come out and they're like, you want to murder people? And I go, whoa, that's a little far. I don't think you understood what I was saying, because in no way did I say I want to hurt people. I say we should, at the very least, if you're not going to fix the bail problem, we should have the right to defend ourselves if someone attacks us or tries to steal our things. And defending myself isn't just killing someone. It's defending myself. There's a lot of different ways that could go. But no, I'm a murderer now because I own guns. So that's where that came from. But that's one of the things where, you know, like, I have a different opinion than someone and they just outright call me a murderer with absolutely zero proof or really any speculation. Like, there's that is completely your opinion, and I'd love to know who I murdered, because as far as I know, I haven't, and I won't, because that's against the law, and I don't break the law. It's kind of how law-abiding citizen goes. Because if I do break the law, I will lose a handful of my. They're not rights. You don't have a right to carry firearms to own firearms in Canada. It's a privilege, and I would lose that privilege. And I would rather not, because I've spent a lot of money on them. And I would rather not have them just taken away without being compensated for them. So, that sort of thing. Yeah, so like, clean girl makeup, girl dinner, homesteading, and clean eating give experts pause. That's just crazy that they go, no, you're gonna hate gay people now. Oh my god, now I yeah, it's okay. So when it comes to things like girl dinner and girl math, it's a bit more nuanced. Having a snacky dinner of your favorite foods is fun, and finally purchasing a pair of shoes you've been eyeing is equally fun, but Burvich noted that categorizing these types of things as girl can be problematic. Oh, wow. But manslaughter isn't? Guys, it's people slaughter now. Guys. It's not girl dinner. But gaslight gatekeep girl boss is okay. Oh, sorry. It also erases non-binary folks and promotes gender essentialism, meaning that women can have certain traits while men have certain traits, and there's no in between, which we know is not true. No, yeah, obviously. Like, do you have to have this divide? Like, I think you're making the divide worse. I think if we just stop talking about it, it'll go away. Because no one cares. Like, really, no one really cares. But every time someone talks something about it and makes it a big deal, everyone just goes, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't care about something being man or girl or any of these things. Like, you know, if my son wants to play with dolls, or if my daughter wants to play football, like, okay. If my son wants to do dance or gymnastics, or my daughter wants to play with cars, like, I don't think there's as much of a divide as people think nowadays. Oh, now we're talking about raw milk. What? What are we on? Oh, so they're talking about like clean eating and that sort of thing, and how people are saying that they want to eat healthier because there's chemicals in the food, which there is. Like, that's set in stone. That yes, there is forever chemicals in processed foods, and there is probably, maybe, it depends on where you get it from. Again, this is where growing your own food is good, because you can actually like understand where it comes from and that sort of thing, because the forever chemicals are in the water and they only come out through very specific circumstances. You know, giving blood is one of those things. Pregnancy and breastfeeding is another way that these forever chemicals come out of your body, but of course they go into the kid. So yeah, saying that, hey, I don't want a whole bunch of processed foods because they're more likely to be around forever chemicals. Yeah, that's okay. But there's a whole bunch of people on social media that just care too much about politics, and they care too much about someone else's politics than their own. So if someone says, "Oh, I think XYZ," and you don't agree with that, you just don't agree with it. You don't need to argue them on it. And if you do, and they still go, "Hey, thank you for having this debate with me. I appreciate it. I think you had a couple good points, and I think I'm gonna change just a little bit, but I still think this." And you still get no. You have to agree with everything I say as I say it, word for word. Like, that's insane. So there's a lot of, again, I'm talking from experience. Like, I'm not just saying, oh, this literally happens to me every now and again. It just happened recently. I wish I could tell personal stories, like really personal stories, but I really shouldn't, because it's so funny. But that's my take on this far right extremism. Is I don't think it's as extreme as you think. I just think you're not opening your eyes. Because if someone has a left opinion to me, and if someone has a right opinion to me, now there is far left and far right, but I think the far left goes out to, like, you know, having anarcho-capitalism anarcho-communism and that sort of thing, and that, like, that's far left. And saying that, you know, you're like having basically is fashion. people call everyone fascists as well, which is, you're either a Nazi or a fascist. So it's just insane. But people are basically saying, like, no, I want communism, and I'm like, no, communism has never worked once. I do think the government has a little bit too much overreach. I do think that, but I don't think we should, like, you're not going to get rid of government. Like, that's not how this works. So people, yeah, that's my far right, is like, we need to abolish the government, we need to go fully into communism, and I'm like, it doesn't work. That's far left to me. Sorry, I might have said far right. That's far left. Far right is like the super racist, super homophobic, super, is xenophobic a thing? Or am I just, maybe it is, I don't know. But all the phobics on that side, and those are the Nazis. That's the far right. There aren't many of them. But like saying, hey, I think pedophiles should go to prison for soliciting minors, I don't think that's far right extremism, in my opinion. Anyways, to move on to something a little more heavier than politics, which sucks, I know. So just listener discretion advised. I recently found out that MAID, which is medical assistance in dying, is going to be offered to not only people that are primarily suffering from mental illness, but also to minors who are suffering from mental illness, which I don't think is a very good thing. I don't think mental illness is enough that you should have medical assistance in death, which is what I like to call it instead, because I think dying is a little too nice of a word for it. It's government-assisted suicide is what it is, for only, like, okay, I'm just going to read directly from dyingwithdignity.ca. This is the Canadian MAID website for all the information and that sort of thing. So the basics: medical assistance in dying, MAID, for those whose sole underlying condition is mental illness, includes conditions that are primarily within the domain of psychiatry, such as depression and personality disorders. It does not include neurocognitive disorders nor other conditions that may affect cognitive abilities, such as dementia, Alzheimer's, Huntington's, or Parkinson's, which may actually be acceptable other symptoms, like other things, you know. If your sole underlying medical condition is a mental illness, you are not eligible to apply for MAID until March 17th, 2027, which is almost just under 2 years away. No one under the age of 18 is eligible to apply or access MAID regardless of their diagnosis as of right now. It may change, which I do not think is very good. Do I solely disagree with MAID? No. I do think it is applicable in a handful of circumstances. I was looking it up, and it said in the Netherlands they have something similar, and minors are actually applicable to apply. And in one of the last years that they have it, or over a series of many years, I can't remember which one, but only 7 minors actually got medical assistance in death. And what did they get it for? Terminal cancer. That's a good reason, whether they are children or not, because I don't think people should be suffering through a lot of these terminal illnesses. Mental illness should not... Your solution to mental illness isn't death. Whether it is government-assisted, whether it is suicide, it's not the answer. There are people that can help. There are people that care. And it's not the answer. And the fact that the government is going to be offering that you can kill yourself because you are upset that you can't buy a home in this economy is insane. It takes the words out of my mouth, because the amount of people that do take their own lives because of PTSD, because of all of these conditions, because of depression, because it's rough. Because if you actually try and help these people instead of giving in to their delusions of death for depression, I'm going to leave the silence, because normally I cut it out when I'm talking about just about anything else. And I'm not looking for runtime, because we're almost at an hour now. I'd be happy cutting it here. But there's lots of people that have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and because there's a net underneath it, the amount of people that have said they regretted it as soon as they jumped was quite a good amount. I'm just going to stop this here and search that up. Alright, it took me a bit, but I found it. It says all 29 people who survived their suicide attempts off of San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge have said they regretted their decision as soon as they jumped. Each and every one who survived was immediately regretting their decision to leap to their deaths. Not afterwards, not after they lived, not after they were injured doing it, because a lot of them were. And a lot of them were very heavily disabled afterward as well. There was this one on Wikipedia, and who was it? Kevin Hines, 19-year-old, paranoid and hallucinating when he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, throwing himself headfirst over the bridge railing. He fell 220 feet into the San Francisco Bay. During the fall, his body rotated so that when he hit the water, he was in a sitting position, taking the impact in his legs and up through his back. 3 of his vertebrae were shattered, lacerating his lower internal organs. Following further experimental surgery, he made a complete recovery. That was very lucky for him. But later he says, there was a millisecond of free fall. In that instant, I thought, what have I just done? I don't want to die. God, please save me. Following his suicide attempt, he appeared in the documentary film The Bridge and was interviewed on CNN. He also wrote a book about his experience before and after his suicide attempt, and became a mental health advocate and prominent for a bridge suicide barrier or net to prevent such incidents. I'm finding it a little bit more and more difficult to talk about it. But suicide is a very permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's temporary. This too shall pass. There are people you can talk to. People do care. And if you want to learn more, you can watch The Bridge. It's a 2006 documentary filmed in 2004, 365 days of filming in 2004. It captured 23 of the 24 suicides on the bridge in 2004. I might watch it, but it's here it is. Yeah, survivors often regret their decision in midair, if not before. This observation is supported by Ken Baldwin, who explained, I instantly realized that everything in my life I thought was unfixable was totally fixable, except for having just jumped. And that's why I don't think MAID should be accessible for people with depression. I think it's fixable. I think people can and will make it through. And they won't have the willpower to do it until it's already too late. for every single survivor to have regretted it, think about the lives that could have been changed. So I don't think it should move forward for people with depression. And I don't think that people should take it upon themselves to do it either. I don't think this should be any sort of talk other than this should not happen. I'm gonna cut it there, just after an hour. So thank you so much for listening. Possibly contact your local MP to talk about this, because I will myself, and I do not think that this should be that this should go forward, or should be offered to people suffering from depression and personality disorders. Because again, this too shall pass. There are suicide hotlines, there's hotlines for mental crises, and there's always someone to talk to. So thank you. And trust me, it's worth living.